I was doing everything right, and still they weren't learning. If you've ever run a session and felt like your learners were physically present but mentally gone, you are not alone. In this episode, we're unpacking the truth about adult learning, why it's not the same as teaching kids, and how one simple shift can turn your training from background noise to breakthrough. I'll share what no one told me when I started, the science, the strategy, and the stories that changed how I train forever. Let's get into it. There was a time I stood in front of a class. Slides on point, icebreaker ready, full of energy, and still nothing landed. Just silence. Some yawns, a few phones under the table, and I remember thinking, did I mess this up? Was it my voice? My pacing? Am I just boring? But later, I realized it wasn't about me. It was about how I was teaching. I was using school rules to teach grown-ups, and that's not how adults learn. Kids show up to class because they have to. But adults, they show up because they want something, even if they don't say it out loud. A raise, a solution, a win, a fix. And if your training doesn't hit that personal why in the first few minutes, they may still sit there, but mentally they've already walked out. I didn't even hear this word until years into my training career. Andragogy, the science of how adults learn. Yes, it sounds fancy, but don't let it scare you. This isn't about sounding smart. It's about teaching right. Most new trainers don't know it exists. I didn't. And that made me doubt myself in rooms I should have been leading. One night as I was reviewing my materials, I chanced upon an article about Malcolm Knowles, the one who laid down the 6 principles that made everything click for me. He said adults don't learn like kids because they carry life with them. They come in with routines, bias, wisdom, wounds, pride, years of doing it their way. And if we don't acknowledge that, we don't just lose their attention, we lose their trust. So let me walk you through the 6 principles that flip my sessions around. I used to think being a good trainer meant being fun, loud, and fast on your feet. But growth came when I understood these. This is where most trainers stop. 20 years ago, that was me too. I'd give vague WIIFMs and expect for the best outcome. But here's what I learned from a master trainer class 15 years ago. Purpose isn't a motivational slogan. It's a survival instinct in adult learning. If adults don't see the point in the first 2 minutes, they mentally clock out. Real purpose sounds like, this tool will cut your call time by 30%, or this feedback model can save your team's morale. Don't say, we're learning Excel today. Say, this shortcut will save you 3 hours this week, enough time for a real lunch break. When you skip the why, they skip the point. Start strong with purpose. Adults don't show up empty. They come with a whole backpack of experience. I learned that each time I ignore that, my learners feel powerless, unseen, unmotivated. So I'd say, this is just like the process you used at your old job, only faster. Or, this call type, basically a cousin of what you handled last week. I'd let them connect the dots. It reduces cognitive load and helps new information stick. I once had a participant say, I don't learn from listening, let me do it. So instead of saying, here's how to de-escalate, I said, pair up, you're the irate caller, go. You see, action-based learning beats passive listening. Give them scenarios, let them screw up in practice, let them move, let them lead the discussion. That's where ownership happens. This one is non-negotiable. I overheard a learner say, we won't even use this on one of my sessions when I was still an associate. I knew right then that they won't remember it, but I still rolled with it anyway. My supervisor was observing me at that time, and I will never forget what he said. I need to make my sessions feel urgent, immediate, now. I shifted gears since then. I'd say something like, you'll use this when your team lead asks for us tomorrow's report. Or, this exact issue came up in last month's client audit. Real-world relevance makes information memorable. It tells the learner, this matters to you, now. Ask yourself, what real problem will they face right after training? Then teach that. Urgency is a memory magnet. Use it. When I was just starting out, I thought giving information was enough. Until one day, A tenured agent looked at me and said, "Okay, but what am I supposed to do with this?" That stuck. Because adults don't just want to know, they want to know how to use what they know. That's when I realized, if your content doesn't solve a real-world problem, it's just trivia. So now, I frame everything around real-life situations. This script helps you calm down angry customers without escalating. This process helps you spot a fraud case before it gets approved. It's not about knowledge dumps, it's about application. If they can use it to solve a problem, they'll remember it, because they'll need it again. This one took me years to really understand. I once trained a group of senior managers. I was nervous, so I overcompensated, explaining every little thing like they were new hires. Halfway through, one of them raised their hand and said, "We already know this. Can we move on?" Ouch. That's when I learned respect isn't just about being polite. It's about how you deliver content. When you talk down, they shut down. But when you talk with them, like professionals, not pupils, they lean in. Now I say things like, "You've done tougher things than this. This will be easy." Or, "You probably know parts of this already. I'll just fill the gaps." When learners feel respected, they relax. They engage, they bring their best. Respect isn't just the last principle. It's the glue that holds the rest together. So let's recap what real adult learning design looks like. Start with a clear purpose and make it urgent. Connect to their past experience. Let them get involved. Don't just tell, let them do. Keep it relevant. Today's challenges, not theory. Make it solve something, not someday, right now. And never forget respect. Speak with them, not at them. You follow these 6, you're not just a trainer. You're a learning architect. You're not just covering content. You're changing how adults show up, absorb, and apply what they learn. I'm Abby, and this is Ready, Set, Train, where real training meets real people. Quick wins, solid frameworks, and the truth behind what makes grown-up learning actually work. Want to go deeper into how to design better sessions, write stronger objectives, or facilitate like a pro? You're in the right place. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if this helped you, share it with another trainer who needs this too. Follow for more.